Man, I wish there was some kind of guidebook for navigating the mess of a marriage that's starting to crumble. I'm Dylan, just a regular dude raised to believe a husband's job is to put food on the table and keep the family secure, no matter what it takes. But things have shifted these days, more couples are splitting the bills, and plenty of women are out there as the main earner. When Lisa and I got married, I was the one with a solid gig, climbing the ladder at my company with big things on the horizon. My job kept me late at the office, stole my weekends, and sent me on business trips now and then, but Lisa seemed cool with it at first. She had her own job back then, but after our son Ryan came along, she decided to stay home and focus on being a mom. We settled in a nice little neighborhood, great schools, friendly folks next door, everything felt pretty perfect, except for my crazy work hours. Things changed when our second kid, Ashley, showed up. Getting pregnant with Ryan was tough because of my low sperm count, but somehow we got lucky with Ashley. After her, we figured 2 kids were plenty, given how much energy it takes to raise a family. Like any couple, we hit some bumps, arguments, disagreements, the usual stuff, but we always talked it out and found a way to sort things through. Then there was this stretch when Lisa started having some health issues, something to do with women's stuff, and she went to a specialist. She brushed it off as no big deal, but for a while, we couldn't be intimate. I kept asking her what was going on, but she'd just say, "Don't worry about it, Dylan." Looking back, maybe I should have pushed harder for answers, something feels off about that now. I'm still grinding away at my job, putting in long hours, but it's finally starting to pay off. I've been climbing the ranks, getting a promotion every few years, and I'm on track to be director of manufacturing in a year or 2. Once that happens, I'll have more time to be home with the family. Ryan's 17 now, just a year away from high school graduation, and Ashley's just starting high school. Both of them are total jocks, guess they got that from their old man. Ryan's killing it on the baseball team, and Ashley's all about soccer, though she's pretty darn good at softball too. They're both smart kids, popular, with tons of friends. Ryan's had a couple of girlfriends already, and Ashley's just hitting that age where dating's about to start. Lord, give me strength. Lisa's been dropping hints lately about wanting to get back to work, especially since Ryan's heading to college soon and Ashley's old enough to handle herself. I thought it sounded like a solid plan, and I told her it was fine by me as long as it didn't mess with our family routine. She landed a part-time gig at the mall, selling stuff at a big department store, which came with a sweet employee discount we all appreciated. A few months into her job, I had a full-day meeting with a supplier lined up, but it got cancelled last minute. Since my office isn't far from the mall, I figured I'd surprise Lisa with a visit during a long lunch break. I knew she worked in the jewelry section, so I headed over there, hoping she'd spot me and help me pick out something nice for her. But when I got there, I couldn't find her anywhere. A young woman at the counter asked if I needed help, so I said, "Is Lisa working today?" "Nope, she's not on the schedule until tomorrow," the woman said with a bright smile. "I'm planning a trip soon, so I need to start booking hotels and stuff. Any chance you could ask her when she's free?" I yanked my phone out of my pocket. "I'll give her a quick call now since she's probably still at home. She doesn't have to clock in until 8 tomorrow, the woman at the counter said. She dialed Lisa's number, and I caught bits of her side of the conversation before she hung up. She said she'll fax her monthly schedule over later this morning. "Sound good?" she asked with a warm grin. "That's awesome, just what I needed." "Thanks, Sam, and tell your wife I appreciate it too." About an hour later, I had Lisa's work schedule in my hands, and I noticed she was only pulling 10 to 12 hours a week. She'd been telling me she was working 18 to 25 hours. Why the lie? A cold shiver hit me as I started thinking about what could be going on. I didn't have much time to dwell on it, though. My day was packed with meetings. But I'll be honest, I was distracted, zoning out more than once, my mind racing to figure out what Lisa was hiding. After my last meeting, I shut myself in my office and locked the door. I pored over Lisa's schedule, even plugging it into a spreadsheet that I synced to my iPhone. What was she doing with all that extra time she wasn't at work? I needed answers, so I hopped online and started searching for ways to keep tabs on her movements. Pretty soon, I had a list of gadgets that could help, plus a few extras that might come in handy. I didn't want any of this showing up on our bank statements, so on my way home, I stopped by an ATM, pulled out some cash, and grabbed a prepaid debit card. The next day, I ordered everything I needed and had it shipped to my office. It'd take a few days for the stuff to arrive, so I started thinking about my next steps, and what I'd do if my worst fears were true. Sitting at my desk, I typed up a list of reasons why Lisa might be lying about her hours. At the top, cheating. If that was the case, our marriage was in deep trouble. But I still couldn't wrap my head around her stepping out on me. I mean, I thought we had a solid thing going. Sure, our sex life had cooled off a bit over the years, but we were still intimate a couple of times a week. Maybe it was a little routine, but was that enough for her to betray me? By the next week, the gear I'd ordered showed up at work. Now I just had to set it all up. I'd gotten a GPS tracker for her car that I could monitor from my iPhone or iPad to see where she was going. I also had some voice-activated recorders, a few tiny spy cameras for our bedroom, and a high-quality digital camera with a killer zoom lens. Staring at this pile of stuff made my stomach churn. This was what my marriage had come to. I was about to start spying on my own wife to find out if she was unfaithful. Man, I prayed I was wrong, but the doubt was eating me alive, and I had to know for sure. The next morning, I got up earlier than usual and slipped a voice recorder and the GPS tracker into Lisa's car. Then I headed to work and pulled up her schedule to see when she'd be out of the house. She wasn't working today, but I decided to call her anyway to see what she'd say. I grabbed my office phone and hit her number. "Hey, babe, just got to work and realized I forgot to ask, are you working today?" Yeah, I am," she said, hesitating. "But I'll be home before you get back." "Okay, cool. Have a good day at the store. Love you." Those last words stuck in my throat. With the tracker in her car, I'd be able to see exactly where she went. That'd give me a window to go home and set up the cameras and recorders to check if she was bringing someone into our bed. The thought alone made my blood boil like nothing I'd ever felt before. If she was betraying me and our kids, she'd have to answer for it. That morning, I pulled up the tracking app on my iPad to see if Lisa had left the house yet. It wasn't until about 10 a.m. that I noticed her car was on the move. Figured that was my chance to set up the rest of the gear. I told my assistant I had to run home for a couple of hours and would be back after lunch. Before long, I was in our bedroom, carefully hiding the cameras and recorders to get clear angles without tipping her off. Once everything was set up and working, I checked the iPad again to see where Lisa was. The app showed her at the mall. Maybe she did have a shift today after all. I thought I'd swing by and surprise her. I rolled into the mall parking lot and spotted her car way out in the back, nowhere near the store she worked at. That struck me as odd. I grabbed my new digital camera and snapped a few shots of her car. Then I parked closer to the store and headed straight for the jewelry department. The same young woman who'd helped me before was there. "Hey, is Lisa working today?" I asked. She gave me an apologetic look. "Sorry, sir, but Lisa quit last week. Said the job was getting in the way of family stuff. Can I help you with anything else?" "Nah, I'm good, thanks," I muttered, barely keeping it together. I was so furious I could hardly see straight. If Lisa had been standing there, I might have lost it. How could she lie to my face like that? And how long had this been going on? Who was she with? I was gonna find out, and they'd both regret crossing me. I couldn't go back to work in that state. I found a spot in the parking lot where I could keep an eye on her car without her noticing me. The camera's zoom let me watch from a distance and record anything that went down. It wasn't until almost 2 p.m. that she finally came back to her car. Another car pulled up beside hers, and I watched her climb out of the passenger side. She leaned down, said something to the driver, and flashed a smile. That little moment made my blood boil. I snapped a bunch of pictures of her and the car she'd been in. I couldn't see the driver's face, but I noticed the car had dealer plates. There are only a few dealerships around here, so tracking it down shouldn't be too hard. By then, she'd driven off, probably heading home. I sat there in my truck, replaying what I'd just seen. I decided to cruise by some local car dealerships to see if I could spot that car. As I pulled out of the lot, I headed toward the strip where all the dealerships are, their signs and flags screaming about big sales and new models. I wasn't looking for a deal, though. I was hunting for the guy my wife was spending her time with. I checked out a few lots but couldn't find the car from earlier. I didn't want to get out and start asking questions, that could tip them off. Then it hit me, I hadn't actually seen anything solid to prove they were having an affair. I needed hard evidence, something undeniable, but how? I had to put that on hold for now, though, because I was gearing up for a 3-day business trip to meet a client the next week, and I needed to stay focused. I got home at my usual time, and everything seemed normal on the surface. I decided to test Lisa with a little lie of my own. Hey, babe, bad news, they're extending my trip to a full week. I won't be back until Saturday afternoon. That cool with you? No problem at all, she said with a smile. I could tell she was already planning to spend time with this guy. I was determined to catch them red-handed and put an end to this mess. That night, I climbed into bed and pretended to sleep, but my brain was racing, trying to figure out how to handle this. The next morning at work, I pushed the whole thing to the back of my mind and focused on my job. The week flew by, and before I knew it, I was set to fly out Sunday afternoon. Ryan, my son, offered to give me a ride to the airport. As we drove to the airport, I could tell Ryan had something heavy on his mind. Hey, slugger, what's eating you? You're quieter than usual. Something up? He cleared his throat, struggling to find the words. Dad, I don't know how to say this, but you need to know. Mom's been, well, he couldn't spit it out, so I stepped in. She's cheating on me. Yeah, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Is that what you were gonna tell me? He turned to me, his eyes full of shock and pain. Are you gonna divorce her? I'm not sure yet, son. How'd you find out she was seeing someone? A few weeks back, my baseball practice got rained out, so I came home early. It was pouring, and I guess they didn't hear me come in, but I heard them. I went upstairs to your bedroom and saw her with him. I was so stunned I just bolted to a friend's place and stayed there for a bit. When I got back, the guy was gone, and Mom looked like she'd just showered. His eyes were wet with tears as he told me. Man, in that moment, I wanted to wring her neck. Does Ashley know about this? He shook his head. Nah, I don't think so, and I'm sure not gonna be the one to tell her. You know how she gets with that temper of hers. Good call. I'm hoping I can still save our family, so let's keep this between us. Act normal around your mom and sister, and if you need to talk, just give me a call, alright? We pulled up to the airport, and I gave Ryan a big hug. Stay strong, buddy, and keep an eye on Ashley. Hit me up if you need to vent. With that, I met up with my co-workers, checked in, and we boarded the plane. The trip went well, we sealed a major deal with a new client. It took days of meetings and hammering out details, but both sides walked away happy. On the last day, we were grabbing a late lunch to celebrate when my phone rang. It was Ryan, sounding panicked. Dad, you gotta come home right now. What's going on? What happened? My heart was racing. It's Ashley. She found out about Mom's affair, and it got ugly. You need to get back here. Is she okay? What happened to her? He wouldn't give me details. Just get home as soon as you can, please. I apologized to my team, told them I had a family emergency, and checked out of the hotel. I caught the next flight home from the airport. The 2-hour flight felt like forever. When I landed, Ryan was there waiting. "Alright, kid, what the hell went down? How'd Ashley find out about your mom?" Ryan looked at me, half grim, half smirking. "Same way I did, pretty much, but she handled it her own way. Her softball practice got cancelled, so she came home early. She walked in on mom and that guy in bed, just like I did. Difference is, Ashley grabbed her softball bat and went to town on the guy." I stared at him, floored. "She did what?" Ryan's grin got wider. "Yeah, Ashley told me before the cops took her away that she caught them in the middle of, passionate lovemaking. She was as shocked as I was but pissed as hell. So, she ran to her room, grabbed her bat, and started swinging at the guy. When she was done, she called 911 and told them she caught some creep attacking her mom, so she did what she had to do. I got home right as it was going down and heard the guy upstairs crying like a baby. Cops showed up, questioned mom, Ashley, and the guy, his name's Brian. Ashley stuck to her story, saying since it wasn't her dad in bed with mom, it must have been non-consensual, so she took care of business." Ryan couldn't wipe that grin off his face. "This ain't a joke, son," I said, but then I couldn't help it, I started chuckling too. When we got home, I saw Lisa on the couch, looking like a wreck. I walked over, wrapped my arms around her, and held her tight. "It's gonna be alright, babe. We'll figure this out. I know this was rough, but with some counseling, you'll be okay." I leaned into the assault story, playing it cool so she wouldn't guess I knew the truth. She trembled in my arms. "God, Dylan," she whispered, then broke down sobbing. I glanced at Ryan. "Where's Ashley at right now?" "She's still down at the police station." "I didn't know what to do," he said. I stood up, pulled out my phone, and dialed our family lawyer. I filled him in on the mess and asked if he knew someone who could handle this kind of case. He said their firm had a guy, and he'd meet me at the station within the hour. I pulled Ryan aside, out of Lisa's earshot. "Don't let your mom know we're onto her affair. As far as we're concerned, Ashley was just stopping a creep, got it?" He smirked. "Gotcha, Dad. You stay here and keep her calm. I'll go get Ashley and bring her home." At the police station, I was talking to the desk officer, waiting for the lawyer. Soon he rolled in, all sharp in his suit and tie, looking ready to handle business. We worked on getting Ashley out. Apparently, Brian was pushing to charge Ashley with assault. I asked, "Is my wife filing charges against Brian for attacking her?" "Nope," the officer said. I knew I had Lisa cornered. If she didn't press charges, she'd have to admit to the affair, and Ashley could end up in jail. If she did press charges, Brian would likely spill about their affair, and Ashley might still be in trouble. I felt torn about Ashley, proud as hell that she thought she was protecting her mom, but gutted that she had to learn about the affair like this. Right then, I knew our marriage was done. It took a few hours, but Ashley was released into my custody with a promise to show up in court soon. I hugged her tight as she cried. "I'm so sorry, Daddy. I had to stop him," she sobbed. "You did what you thought was right, sweetheart, and I'm damn proud of you." I was tearing up now too. "Can we go home now?" "Absolutely, kiddo, let's get out of here." When we walked through the door, Ryan grabbed Ashley in a huge bear hug. "You holding up okay?" She sniffled. "Better now that I'm back home." I glanced around the living room. "Where's your mom at?" "She went to lie down," Ashley said, then her voice turned sharp. "When you divorce her, oh, sorry, what?" I looked at her, surprised. "Who said anything about divorce?" "Well, I just figured, since she's been cheating on you for over a year, you'd want to end it." Ryan and I both stared at her. "What?" "I overheard them talking before I started swinging," she said with a sly grin. "Oh, and I'm pretty sure that guy won't be hooking up with anyone for a long time, if ever." I couldn't help but laugh. Hold off on the divorce talk for now. I need to have a word with your mom first. Why don't you two hit the sack? It's been a wild day. I headed upstairs and found Lisa passed out face down on her bed. I grabbed some clothes and crashed in the guest room. It was late, and I didn't see the point in waking her to hear her excuses. Sleep didn't come easy, but eventually, I drifted off. The next morning, I dragged myself out of bed around 10 a.m., feeling like I'd been hit by a truck. I shuffled downstairs to grab some coffee and found Ryan and Ashley at the kitchen table, chatting. They looked up, got up, and each gave me a hug. Ryan eyed me. "Man, Dad, you look rough. You doing all right?" I gave a weary nod. "Yeah, just worn out. Has your mom gotten up yet?" They both shook their heads, and Ashley piped up. "Not yet. What's gonna happen now, Dad? Am I going to jail?" "I'd rather do time than live with her," she said, her voice dripping with venom. "Hey, Ashley, you don't mean that. Listen, you two, your mom loves you both, no matter what she's done to our marriage. I'll sit down with her and see if we can figure something out, but I'm not holding my breath." Truth is, I had zero hope left. Then Lisa appeared in the doorway, her eyes red. "Please, Dylan, give me a chance," she pleaded, tears streaming down her face. "I don't want to lose you or our kids. Can't we just talk? Can't we try to fix this?" I looked at her, while the kids shot her daggers. We needed to hash this out, but not with Ryan and Ashley around, so I pulled out my wallet and handed Ryan a couple of 20s. "Why don't you and your sister catch a movie and grab some pizza after? Sound good?" They both nodded. As they headed out, they said, "Love you, Dad," but didn't spare a word for Lisa. She noticed, and it hit her hard. Once they were gone, Lisa slumped into a chair. "My kids hate me. My own babies can't stand me," she said, her voice breaking. "What did you expect, Lisa? You were with another guy, and they caught you. So where do we go from here? I hear Brian's trying to press charges against Ashley. If he does, I'll make sure this whole mess gets splashed across the news. You'd better talk to your boyfriend and get him to back off. And if he doesn't, let him know you'll file assault charges against him. Got it?" She nodded, tears welling up again. "What about us, Dylan? What happens to our marriage? I'm meeting with a divorce lawyer next week. You should probably do the same. As far as I'm concerned, our marriage died a long time ago. I'll push for full custody of the kids. Honestly, Ashley might come after you with a bat in your sleep. You really want to live looking over your shoulder? But they're my kids. They love me," she sobbed. "Not after finding out about you and Brian. This is gonna get ugly, no matter how we play it. I hate to say it, but you'd better get a lawyer and figure out your options. I'll try to keep things fair, but you hurt me and the kids, and that's not something I can just let slide," I said, my voice steady but cold. She broke down again. "Dylan, I don't want a divorce. I want our family back. Please, help me fix this. Why should I? You didn't just betray me, you betrayed our kids. They want nothing to do with you. You messed up big time, Lisa, and I'm not sure I can stay married to someone who'd do that. Tell me what I need to do to keep our family together." "I'm so sorry," she cried, her sobs growing louder. "For starters, we both need to talk to Brian and convince him to drop the charges against Ashley. Then we've got to figure out why you did this and whether this marriage is even worth saving. I'm not making any promises, but if you're willing to be straight with me, we might have a shot." I was just feeding her what she wanted to hear to get those charges dropped. No way was I staying with someone who'd cheated like that. "I can handle Brian on my own." "You don't need to come," she said softly. "No chance. This is about our daughter, and as her dad, I'm going with you. Clear?" She nodded, her head hanging like she'd already lost. Soon, we were in the car, heading to the hospital to face Brian. I wasn't expecting a friendly chat. When we walked into his room, I saw him laid up, both legs hoisted in the air by pulleys, knees wrapped in bandages, one arm in a cast, probably from trying to block Ashley's swings. I couldn't help but smile to myself, already thinking about getting Ashley a car for her next birthday, even though she's 2 years away from a license. Brian looked up as we walked in, his eyes glassy, probably from all the pain meds they had him on. "Well, look who it is, the happy couple. Come on in and see what your kid did to me," he slurred, sounding like he'd had a few too many. "Please, Brian, we just need to talk." "Let's not make this ugly," Lisa said, her voice shaky. I could tell she was nervous, but I wasn't sure what was eating at her. Then he dropped a bomb. "I told you 14 years ago to get an abortion, but no, you had to go and have another kid, even if it wasn't his," Brian sneered. I spun to face Lisa. "What's he talking about? What does he mean Ashley's not mine?" She was trembling now. "He's just out of it from the drugs, Dylan. Don't listen to him," she said, trying to brush it off. "Oh, yeah. Well, a DNA test will clear that up real quick, won't it? Maybe I'll get one for Ryan too, just to be safe. What do you think, honey?" I was madder than I'd ever been in my life. Lisa bolted out of the room, sobbing. I stood there, frozen, then locked eyes with Brian. "All right, here's the deal. First, you drop the charges against Ashley. Second, you stay the hell away from my family. As for Lisa, you can have her, she won't be my wife much longer. You two can do whatever you want now." He started bawling. "That little, made sure I won't be doing anything anytime soon." "Yeah, I'm getting her a car for her next birthday," I said. Then I leaned in. "Is Ashley your daughter?" He nodded, too choked up to speak. I pressed further. "So, you and my wife have been carrying on for 15 years? He nodded again. It hit me like a punch to the gut. I was glad Lisa wasn't there, because I might have lost it. I sank into a chair, staring at nothing, wondering how I'd missed this for so long. Then it clicked, those health issues she had years back, the ones she never explained. A sick feeling crept in. I looked at Brian. "That medical thing a few years ago, was that another pregnancy she ended?" He nodded. "I told her if she didn't get it taken care of, I'd tell you Ashley wasn't yours, and neither was that one." I dropped my head into my hands and let the tears come. This is insane, I thought, my mind reeling. After about 10 minutes, I pulled myself together and walked out of Brian's room. Lisa was in the waiting area, staring out a window. When she saw me, she got up and followed me to her car. We sat in silence in the car until Lisa finally spoke. "I know you must hate me, Dylan, but it's not what it seems. It was just..." I cut her off. "If you say it was just sex, you'll end up in a hospital bed next to Brian. When did this affair start? When were you gonna tell me about the abortion? Or that Ashley's not mine?" She started crying again, but this time, I didn't give a damn. "Here's how this is gonna go, and if you don't agree to every bit of it, I'll make sure your life falls apart. Understand?" She nodded, tears streaming down her face. "First, our marriage is done. You're moving out of the house tonight and never setting foot in it again. Second, I'm getting full custody of the kids. You'll get visitation, but only if they want to see you. If they don't, that's your problem. Third, if you ever breathe a word to Ashley about me not being her dad, I'll make sure everyone, your family, friends, co-workers, knows you had a kid with your lover boy and got an abortion to cover it up. Oh, and speaking of jobs, you quit yours to spend more time with Brian, didn't you?" Lisa had her face buried in her hands, like she could hide from the mess she'd made. "Lisa, I don't ever want to see you again, and you're to stay away from my kids. You hear me? Are we clear?" She looked up, tears streaming, and choked out, "But they're my kids too." "Not anymore, they're not. You can see them only if they're okay with it, but don't hold your breath. When we get home, pack your stuff and get out. She was still sobbing. Where am I supposed to go? Call your folks, crash with a friend, bunk with Brian, pitch a tent in the woods, I don't care. You made your bed, Lisa. We drove back to the house in silence. I pulled into the driveway, and we just sat there for a few minutes, neither of us saying a word. Finally, I spoke up. Why, Lisa? Wasn't our family enough? The home we built, the life we had? Was it about the sex? She sat there, quiet, before muttering, it didn't mean anything. He was good in bed, and after Ashley was born, he started blackmailing me. I do love you, Dylan. Can't we at least try to fix this? I lost it. 15 years, Lisa. You've been cheating for 15 years, and now you want to work it out. Get out of my house. I stormed out of the car and into the house. A few minutes later, she came in and started packing. Within an hour, she'd filled a few suitcases and some cardboard boxes with her things. She carried them out to her car, then came back inside. I'll need to come back for the rest later. I'm staying at my parents' place. Can I call you to set up a time to pick it up? I gave a curt nod. You threw away something good, Lisa. I hope you realize that. She just stared at me, then walked out. A couple of hours later, the kids came home and looked around. Ryan asked, "Where's Mom?" "She's gone. She doesn't live here anymore. I told her I'm getting custody of you too, and she can see you if you're willing, but I don't think our marriage can be saved." Ashley walked over and wrapped her arms around me. "Thanks, Dad. We love you. You holding up okay?" Ryan asked. "Not really, but with you two by my side, I'll get there," I said, pulling them both close. 8 years down the road, Ashley, Ryan, and I managed to move forward from the wreckage Lisa left behind. The kids wanted nothing to do with her, agreeing to maybe an hour or two every other weekend if they didn't have games or plans, and they almost always had something going on. I tried to encourage them to give her a bit more time, but when Ryan hit 18, he looked her in the eye and told her she wasn't his mom anymore and could go to hell. Ashley pretty much echoed him, and I could see it broke Lisa. For the first time in years, I felt a pang of pity for her. Brian got out of the hospital and dropped the charges against Ashley after I made it clear that if he pushed it, I'd have Lisa file rape charges against him. He hobbles around with a cane now, and word is he can't perform, even with pills. Rumor has it he's seen a ton of doctors, burning through cash with no results. Tough break. At Ashley's insistence, we got a DNA test, and it confirmed she's my daughter. When we saw the results, we hugged and cried, flooded with relief. But there's still a question that haunts me: was the child Lisa aborted mine too? I'll carry that doubt to my grave. Lisa stayed with her folks for a bit, landed a full-time gig, and eventually packed up and moved out of state, cutting off all communication with me. She sends the kids' birthday and Christmas cards every year, but they always mail them back without even cracking them open. Ryan scored a baseball scholarship and is studying at a top-notch university, while Ashley's working toward her nursing degree. Both of them are killing it in school and dipping their toes into the dating world. Ryan's got a steady girlfriend now, and Ashley says she wants a guy like me, though I think she deserves someone even better. It took me years to even think about dating again, but I finally met a great woman, and we enjoy each other's company regularly. I'm not in a rush to get married again, and honestly, I doubt I ever will be. The hurt's still there, but it fades a little more every day. My kids are my rock, and I'm thankful for them every single day.